The funny thing about Disneyland is that it's often referred to as the happiest place on Earth. However, upon arriving at the park, you're bombarded with hot sun, long lines, crowds, and crying children. A trip to the happiest place on Earth can quickly become a sad, frustrating waste of money. With ticket prices being what they are, spending money for a dismal trip is unacceptable. According to Disneyland Park's website, the park is open during the peak summer season from 8 a.m. to midnight, giving plenty of time for fun, but also plenty of time for sore feet, grumpy kids, and sunburns. What if there was a way to avoid the lines, the crowds, and the heat? What if there were tips and tricks to navigating Disneyland that could get you from point A to point B without the frustration of stalls and traffic jams? There are, and I can share them with you. According to Answers.com, Disneyland is one of the 2 most popular theme parks in the world, with its Orlando, Florida counterpart being the other. The park accommodates millions of guests every year, and as you can imagine, that makes the park a tad bit crowded at times. In the 1950s, when Disneyland was first built, and in the years since, shortcuts have been created to help guests get from one place in the park to another without the difficulty and annoyance of all the other people that might be there. Most of these shortcuts are known only to locals, who regularly visit the park or are stumbled upon by accident. Upon entering the park, every guest is confronted with Main Street USA. This street is lined with shops on either side, and is possibly the most crowded area of the park. What most of the people on Main Street don't know is that all the stores on either side of the street are interconnected. According to Your Guide to Disneyland Park, you can easily dodge the hustle and bustle of the crowded and often very hot Main Street by going inside a store and simply walking through all of them as if you were outside. However, Disney designed this shortcut especially to put their guests in contact with their souvenir merchandise. If you have a lot of money and not a lot of self-control, then this shortcut probably isn't the best one for you to take. Shortcut number 2 is a small path that connects Adventureland and Frontierland. Adventure and Frontierland hosts some of the most popular rides in the park, including Thunder Mountain, Splash Mountain, the Jungle Cruise, and Indiana Jones. Since these areas of the park experience high amounts of traffic, there's a small path that connects the 2 at their entrances that helps siphon off many of the park goers. This help keeps the entrance of the 2 lands balanced and makes travel between the 2 simple. Another widely unknown shortcut is located between Frontierland and Fantasyland. The connection between the 2 parts of the park is behind the popular attraction Big Thunder Mountain and past Casey Jr. Circus Train. This small walkway leads you past the famous Thanksgiving turkey that is pardoned by the President of the United States every November. The shortcut takes you from Fantasyland and deposits you right next to one of the biggest attractions in the park. If you're moving in the other direction, it takes you from one of the more thrilling rides to the more kid-friendly areas. All the different areas of the park are interconnected in some way, so there's no need to go to the main plaza to get to another area of the park. Okay, so now that we know how to get around, what happens when you get tired of getting around? What happens when your feet start hurting and you just don't want to walk anymore? In an interview with annual pass holder Richard McFarland, he stated that one of the best shortcuts that Disneyland has to offer is the shortcuts in terms of its transportation. The monorail that runs through Disneyland Park was the first monorailed train in the Western Hemisphere. While many people don't know that, even less people know that the monorail runs from Tomorrowland to Downtown Disney, a shopping center that sits between the Disneyland Resort and the park itself. There's a park entrance at the monorail exit in Downtown Disney, so if you're staying at the resort, taking the monorail is a quick and easy way to get you back to the hotel without all the walking. The train that travels through Disneyland has 4 stations, one on Main Street, one in New Orleans Square, one in Toontown, and one in Tomorrowland. The train works excellently for travel between these locations without walking, and it's a ride in and of itself. While on the ride, it takes you through part of Splash Mountain, through the land of the dinosaurs, and through New Orleans Square. It's a nice way to travel and a good ride to relax on. As far as the lines go, there's ways to avoid long lines as well. At the entrance of Downtown Disney, there's a board that stays up to date on the attractions that are broken down or that have long lines at the moment. There's one of these in the Park Plaza and at the park near the entrance of Adventureland. These are good resources when trying to avoid the lines. In an interview with annual pass holder Donna McFarlane, she stated that the only way to go on some rides is with a fast pass. If she had to wait in line for all the best rides, she simply wouldn't go to Disneyland. What a fast pass is a pass that helps you skip the line to get to the ride faster. Fast passes are available for most of the larger and more popular rides and are very helpful because they allow you to cut the lines. You can come back in the time specified on your ticket, and you're able to skip over everyone else and get in the shorter line designated for those who think ahead. Booths are set up adjacent or across from the attractions to allow this. The happiest place on earth is only the happiest if you're happy while you're there. If you remember these tips and tricks, I can guarantee that you will get the most Disney for your dollar. So smile, adjust your Mickey ears, and enjoy your trip.